All right. It's Monday, 11 o'clock. Welcome to the Chazz Palminteri Podcast. We got a great guest today, but before I bring him on, I want to remind you all, January 29th, I am at the Paramount Theater in Huntington, Long Island. The Paramount Theater in Huntington, Long Island. Sunday, the 29th at 7:30. This is going to be a monumental show. We're going to film the show, so it's going to be a great show. Again, Wednesday, March 1st, 8 o'clock, we're going to be in Little Rock, Arkansas. Do you imagine me and Sandy Blue Eyes in Little Rock, Arkansas? If that ain't my cousin Vinny, I don't know what is. It's going to be a great show we're going to do. Again, A Bronx Tale, the original one-man show. At the University of Arkansas, the Pulaski Center. Wednesday, March 1st. And Friday, March 3rd, San Antonio, Texas, at the Empire Theater. 8 p.m., March 3rd, San Antonio, Texas. You can just go to chazzpalminteri.net. Get tickets. We got the holidays coming, Christmas, New Year's. Don't forget, the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. You can get photos. If you want to get Now You Can't Leave, I don't know, I said that once and everybody talks about it for the past 30 years. Okay, and the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. Bronx Tale. What? I feel like I'm in one of those guys on a boardwalk over here. Yes, don't forget, one of the great ones. It's a great gift for your girlfriend. Here we go. Bronx Tale in the front. Now You Can't Leave. Bronx Tale in the front. Everybody's been asking me for stuff. That's why I'm doing this Bronx Tale. And the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. Now, our next guest, for those of you who know me and know my son Dante, we are big boxing fans, UFC fans. I love UFC. I love, the Joe Rogan podcast. I love, Daniel Cormier. We always watch the fights. This is my first UFC fighter on. I thought I'm going to start bringing some of these guys on. I like to get Chuck Liddell on. He's a guy I like to get. But he's a young fighter, but a great fighter. And originally he's from Jersey, and his name is Mickey Gall. Right? Mickey,
yes,
how
sir.
are you today?
Yes, sir. I'm doing great. It's
All
a
right.
pleasure to be here.
So, Mickey,
Wait, I got to say something first.
Go ahead.
You seem to regretfully mention the Now You Can't Leave.
Well, yeah. Well, it's like every time I go on a plane, the pilot goes, "Now you can't leave."
You probably hear it a lot.
I hear it every day, 20 times a day.
Listen, my family, that's like an inside joke in my family.
Really?
Like, yeah, if I'm telling you, the other day, my cousin's playing with her dog, and she grabs it and goes, "Now You Can't Leave." Like, that's
God.
like, you know what I mean? Like,
really?
You shouldn't say that regretfully. That's a beautiful line.
No,
People
no.
love that.
Well,
we love that. That's you know what I mean?
I wrote that line. I mean, it happened. I was there when the guy said it to him, when Sonny said it to the guy, "Now you can't leave." And it's something when you're a tough guy like these guys were, and you think and then a guy just looks at you and says, "Well, now you can't leave." I mean, when you say that to a tough guy and the guys, but I always remembered his face just changed when he told him that. It was like
he was feeling confident and good, and then
you could see it in his eyes.
Things got real.
It got really real. And that's a line in the show, They realized they made that fatal mistake. This time they walked into the wrong bar. That happens, I always thought about that, Mickey. I mean, you as a fighter, do you ever before the fight, are you scared a little bit? Are you nervous?
Absolutely.
You are?
I think there's if someone who says they're not is either crazy or a liar.
Right.
Because we're all just people. You know what I mean? We're all just people feeling the same emotions any other person would feel. You know? So yeah, you're absolutely, if you're intelligent enough, you realize what's at stake.
Right.
Like, I'm going in there and I'm in little short, I'm practically in my underwear with the whole world watching. I'm inside Madison Square Garden. I could get knocked on my ass right now.
Right.
Like, if you're and then at the same time, you're also nervous because all the things you want. Like, you picture when you're going through when you're going like into a fight, like, you're picturing all how good my life's going to be after that fight. I can't wait once I get this win. Oh, it's going to be sweet.
So you already said, I'm going to beat this guy.
If you don't believe that, you'd be crazy to get in there. You know what I mean? You don't want to go out there to get your ass kicked. And I got to say, I was at fights 2 weekends ago.
Right.
And I had a friend who didn't win. And after that, it's like a funeral. It's really like a funeral. And I remember walking down into the back, like seeing other people who lose walk through to the back after the fight.
Right.
And I'm like, and as I'm walking back with my boy after he lost, I'm like, man, like, all right, I don't want this to be a funeral. I'm going to try and give some energy. There's nothing I could do or say because it is a funeral for everything he thought he was going to be feeling, everything he thought that night was going to be. You're thinking about that night every day for months, however long the fight's booked for.
Wow.
And when it doesn't go your way, it's a shock to the system.
It's a big letdown. Yeah.
It's a shock. It's a funeral to what you thought you were going to be feeling, what you thought your life was going to be.
No, but that takes the real fighter who can come back from that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, my dad used to say, a great fighter comes back from defeat, and it's the amazing thing in combat sports. Not in any like a baseball player could have a bad day, goes 0 for 5. Basketball player can go 2 for 10. But a fighter, unless my father was a really knowledgeable man, my father Lorenzo, and he used to say, boxing is the only sport, because back then it was just boxing, it wasn't UFC. He said that a fighter could lose a fight really bad, get really beat up bad, and is never the same again.
Absolutely.
And that's
100%.
amazing. You're never the same.
Yeah. Not only is your wealth on the line, like your money, but your health is on the line.
Right.
You step in there and there's people who have taken beatings and they've never been the same. They can't take a punch the same way.
Yes.
Or even that's just one symptom. Like there's people whose their confidence could be broken.
Exactly.
There's so many possible symptoms and possible fallouts of taking a beating like that and getting in there. And that's why everyone says fighters should be given respect. Meanwhile, you'd be surprised how disrespectful some of the fans could be. You'd be shocked. I think you would be shocked because you grew up in the fight game, knowing the fight game. Your father was a trainer.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've seen most people with respect. But you'd be shocked. You'd be shocked.
At the
They
fighters?
treat you like the fans, like the online fans, the same people who, if they saw you in person,
Yeah,
would come
online.
up, ask for a picture, but then you lose a fight, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, online they say that.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Oh no, never to your face.
Never to your face.
Oh no, come on. Of
Yeah,
course
now,
not.
did you always want to be a fighter, or is this just something that just kind of evolved?
I always kind of loved it. I guess growing up, my first thing I wanted to be a football player.
You had brothers?
No, I was the oldest. I have one little sister, and then I have 2 little baby sisters now. But growing up, I was the oldest. My dad was a big guy, big charismatic guy. He tried out for the Giants. He was a football player.
Wow, okay.
And so I started with football, and when I was 13, I decided, I always liked the rough stuff. I always liked the contact sports.
Well, you were a tough kid?
Yeah,
At
a tough
13?
kid, but I wasn't like a street fighter. I wasn't a bully.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I wasn't like out there causing trouble too much.
Right.
A little bit, but not much. Really,
No,
not much.
I get it.
You
I
know,
get it.
I
yeah.
wasn't. So I was always a good football player. I was a captain of my football team in high school. But
Right.
but when I was 13, I started boxing, and just
Nice.
because I liked the contact, like I liked
Yeah.
the rough stuff. And then when I was 16, I started doing jiu-jitsu because I started to become a fan of MMA, UFC, stuff like
Right.
that. And then once I started doing that, I felt like I was free. Like I felt like I was doing what I was supposed to do.
Wow.
Yeah. So then I ended up going to Rutgers, which was like 20 minutes from my house.
Big football school.
Big football school. But I went and I did MMA. I would drive to my different gyms every day. So I'd drive to I would go from New Brunswick. I would drive to Whippany at AMA Fight Club, and I'd go to my home gym, Gracie, New Jersey, in Lebanon.
Wow.
So I would barely go to class, go to the gym 2 times a day.
Right.
Graduated in 4 years. No big deal.
No big deal. But and then you started. So how many fights have you had?
Let's see. I've had 11 in the UFC.
Right.
I actually have an interesting case
Yeah.
where I had my first pro fight. So I had like amateur fights before that.
Right.
I won all those. And then I had my first pro fight. Dana White was at my fight.
Right.
So I'm like, I remember when I hear that, I'm like, all right, how do I make the most of this? Like Dana White's probably not going to be at my second regional fight. Because, these low level pro fights,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of exposure. It's kind of almost like a bringer show, or you know what I
Got
mean?
it,
It's
got it,
smaller.
yeah.
So I find out Dana White's gonna be my first pro fight. So immediately I'm like, how do I make the most of this? So I remember there was this professional wrestler called CM Punk who had just got signed to the UFC. Didn't have an
Right.
opponent or anything. So immediately when I hear Dana's there, I'm like, I'm gonna toss up a Hail Mary. I'm gonna call out the CM Punk guy. So I beat my opponent fairly quickly in like 2 minutes.
Right.
Get on the microphone and I say to Dana, I'm like, hey man, it's an honor to fight in front of you. I would love to fight that man, CM Punk. And then I go, as I leave the ring, I shake his hand. I'm like, hey man, like 1-0 and 0-0, that's a like record. So for the commission to allow fights, you have to have a similar record. Like if I called out the champion, like who was Robbie Lawler at the time, they'd be like, shut up, kid. What are you, an
exactly.
idiot?
That's not right.
Yeah, of course you can't fight him. But I was like, yeah, maybe there's a chance. So shook Dana's hand. I sign a release. I don't hear anything for like about a month. So I'm at home trying to book my next pro fight, local, regional fight. And me and my dad are watching the pay-per-view. It's Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald, I believe, or maybe Carlos Condit. Yeah. And all of a sudden, there's a commercial for this new show Dana White's doing, and it's all about me. No one said a word to me. Me and my dad are recording the screen with our cell phones. We're like, it was so surreal. Like my mind was blown. We're like, our phones are blowing up. Everyone's calling us.
Fight this guy?
So it ends up, they just put up the commercial. So I get on Twitter like later that day. I call him out again. I get a call from Dana White a couple days later.
Right.
And he's like, hey, we have a guy for you to fight. If you beat him, you get to fight CM Punk. I was like, okay, when's the fight? He's like, 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, I'm there. So I fight this guy 2 weeks later. I beat him in 45 seconds. Drop him with the first punch I throw. Choke him out.
Yeah.
They bring CM Punk in the ring, the big famous wrestler. And then I end up fighting him in September.
So you're going to fight him now?
No, I already fought him.
You beat him?
I beat him very handily, very quickly.
Nice.
And then I used that. I called out a different guy, and you know, then I was off to the races. So that was 10 UFC fights ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Or more.
Now, I mean, you look like a nice. Obviously, you're a really handsome guy, young guy.
Thank you.
But when you're in a car and somebody tells you to get out of the car and they want to fight you, you try not to do that, right?
Oh, of course not. Well, I think
you're a professional. You can't.
No one can punch anyone. It's assault all around. You know what I mean? If
Exactly,
anyone hits anyone, but
if they hit you, then it's different.
Oh yeah, then I don't look for trouble. I think real fighters, you should be exhausted from what you did at the gym.
Right.
You know what I mean? You should be. You shouldn't want to go get your rocks off fighting. Let's
regular
call a
guy.
civilian.
Right.
You know what I mean? Someone who doesn't train.
Yeah.
But there's been a couple times I've had to be the personal form of karma.
Right.
You know, someone starts mouthing off or getting a little aggressive. I've put them in their place before. But not very often.
By choking them out sometimes?
Maybe popping them in the face once. And then leaving the scene as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like my dad used to say, there are people in this world who go around begging to be slapped. And sooner or later, somebody slaps them.
Yes. And I think that's actually a blessing for the world. Maybe they won't be a jerk anymore.
Yes.
You do that. I think, that's something Gerard likes to say. Sometimes it's nice to be someone's karma, right?
I just told Chuck Zito.
The great Chuck Zito.
The great legend Chuck Zito.
Amen.
About my uncle was a fighter, my Uncle Dom, and he was a professional fighter. And my father and him were in a car, and a guy gave my uncle the finger. They would cut him off or something. He gave him the finger. And my uncle chased him from Cross Bronx Expressway to, I think it was Connecticut, all the way to Connecticut, 22 miles. My father kept yelling, Dom, you got to stop. He goes, oh, no. He finally caught him at a traffic thing with his traffic, pulled him out of the car and said to him, give me the finger now. Show me. Come on, give it to me. And he didn't hit him, but he bounced his head on on the ground a little bit. And my dad said, you could bet that guy never gave the finger to anybody ever again.
I bet you're right. Yeah, people don't know who's in that car that they're flipping off. I've been flipped off plenty of times.
Yeah.
I'm like, off.
Yeah.
Like, should we pull over? Should we go over?
Yeah, no.
They don't want that.
I mean, look, and I every time I always think about it, I mean, if you know Bronx Tale, the movie, I was 9 years old. I saw this guy kill a man over a parking space. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the parking space, but it looked like it was. It looked like it was about a parking space, but it wasn't later on. I found out, but you never know who's in the car.
So it's good from that fear aspect, kind of.
Yeah.
Like but just why not? People should be nice to everybody, because you never know like what kind of shitty day that person's having, what type of tough life they're having. They could have just got broken up with. Might as well like I truly believe that. Like I'm anywhere I go, I'm not gonna try and bring anyone down. Yeah. I'm gonna always try and like uplift and be kind, and you know what I mean.
Right. No, that's great.
But there's definitely a lot of pricks out there.
Like I taught my son how to fight. But I taught him how to fight. I said, I'm teaching you how to fight so you don't fight. I mean, that's actually what I said to him. My father said the same thing to me. I'm teaching you how to box. I was 4 years old. Said, come here, you hit, jab, jab, right hand. No, he used to put his hands up like that. And then I got all, and I just loved the sport. I never wanted to be a fighter. I didn't have it. I didn't have that, like, killer thing. I love the training aspect of it.
It's a fun way to work out.
It's a fun way to work out, and it's a great exercise. And I used to like to spar a little bit with the headgear on. I don't spar anymore because I do the show and I don't want to get hit in the face.
Yeah, can't ruin the moneymaker over here.
Right. I'm in a movie. I'm doing a film. I can't.
Can't be walking in with black eyes.
I can't do that. But my son likes to spar, and but the amazing thing about it is my son, when he was, I think, 11 or 12, he did a little role with Hoist Gracie,
Tremendous.
And he just, obviously Hoist was just teaching them and he played with them. And he learned a lot, my son. And then he picked it up. Now he picked it up, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu again. But he's so great with his hands, and now he's getting, but he's just a white belt in Jiu-Jitsu, But I was telling you before, I was kidding around with him and rolling with him, and, I can't beat my son anymore. He just...
Was that hard? Was that hard to pass the torch, so to speak?
I mean, I kind of roll with him a little bit, and I don't know jiu-jitsu, I box,
Well, after the podcast, I'll show you a couple of tricks.
Yeah,
maybe you can retake that throne.
I don't know, man. What it was? Because he trains. He really, I work out. He trains. He rolls.
Yeah.
He goes to Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in Beverly Hills.
Okay.
Because he lives right down the block from them, so he trains with them. And he just says, yeah, Dad, I go like 3-4 times a week, and I love going, and he loves it. Him and his girlfriend go. They go all the time.
Good for them.
But I couldn't maneuver him. He just, like you said, there's tricks. You
learn leverage. You learn balance. You basically, jiu-jitsu is you learn how to, like, pretty much dominate a human body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You learn their tendencies and the way their body's shortcomings. Or if the arm can't bend this way, okay, I can make the arm bend this way to move you this way.
Right.
You know what I mean? I always say, if you have a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, which is about a year to a year and a half of like steady practice, you basically have a superpower over 95% of people on the earth.
On the street.
95% of people just walking. Like, you could walk into a mall and kind of feel like a shark amongst seals, where if something pops off, you're going to be able to handle yourself.
Really?
Absolutely. And that jiu-jitsu, that's what I started when I was 16. And the same lineage as your son, a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu school. I don't call it, a lot of people call it Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I call it Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Right.
Because it's the style that the Gracies did. I learned under David Adib, who's like a second father to me.
Right.
I've been doing it for now, I think it'll be 14 years in September. So I've been it was just 14 years. It'll be 15 years in September.
15 years.
I'm a black belt. I've been a black belt. And jiu-jitsu, like, I don't want to say it saved my life, but like it gave me like structure and discipline, and it was like therapy for me in the beginning.
Right.
Like kind of in the beginning of my training, my sister's actually, she's over 8 years sober. But around when I started, it was very helpless. She was struggling. She had like an OxyContin addiction.
Ooh,
and it was she was kind of going in and out of rehabs, and jiu-jitsu was like my therapy. Like, I couldn't think about either my problems or the problems with my family and the stuff we were dealing with, because when someone's trying to choke you, you kind of got to be focused here.
Yeah.
And it was like physical, like the training was so helpful, and just mentally, like everything, like it was tremendous for me. Kept me out of trouble, kept me on a straight line, and I'll never stop doing jiu-jitsu.
I mean, the thing that's remarkable, and I love reading about, I read all about the Gracies, and I read about how great Hickson was.
Oh yeah.
And the thing I read about him is, and they talked about it. They said that Hickson, that he would tell black belts, get me in a choke, lock it in. And then, I'm telling you, this is what they said. He would tie his hands, and he'd get out of the choke. I don't know how that's possible.
Me neither.
I don't know, in God's name. I mean, Joe Rogan said it. I mean, Joe Rogan is legit. He's a legitimate tough guy too,
Sure. Oh yeah.
And he said, and my friend Ed O'Neill
of course.
From He's a legitimate black
He's a
belt.
black belt, yeah.
And he told me, he said, Hickson would say, okay, let's roll. He goes, I'm going to get you in a left arm bar in the next minute. He would tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, try and stop it.
Try and stop it. And he'd do it. So
Yeah.
what made him
Hickson was special.
what made him so great was that, and his father said it. His father said it, and the other
Helio.
brothers said it. Helio, yeah. They said that what made him so great was he wasn't afraid to go into the deep water, and he just knew he can get out.
Yeah.
I will get out.
Mm-hmm.
He will get 5 black belts, fight them all in a row.
Yeah.
What's your favorite hole? That's your favorite? Get me in it and get out.
Yes.
How is that possible, Mick?
It's well, I think also at that time, I think lately jiu-jitsu's also evolved
Right.
tremendously. Where I think if I almost don't want to say it because I would never want to disrespect Hickson by any means. Like
Right.
Hickson's role model, idol to me.
Right.
He used to, my teacher, David Adiv, Hickson
Yeah.
called him the brain. It was like one
Really?
of his, he taught
Really?
Hickson, Hickson's like in my lineage, him and Hoyler Gracie.
Yeah, right.
But I feel like nowadays, if you put a locked in choke and really hid the arm and did that stuff, and had the hooks in or a body triangle, it's
Yeah.
gonna be pretty hard to get out. But then again, Hickson's magic, so I can't even. Even
can't.
as I'm saying it, I can't even say it. Hickson's magic. Anything
he might
if Hickson
get
says
out.
he did it, he did it.
He did it. I mean, they all said it. That
Yeah.
it was that.
It's absolutely tremendous. But jiu-jitsu has also, and because of the Gracies, has evolved tremendously.
Right.
And it'll continue to evolve.
Right.
It's
When I was bouncing in Manhattan, and again, like I said, I'm not a tough guy, but I could handle myself very well. And the only guy that got the best of me was this guy. I went to he pushed my arm and I grabbed I went to throw a right hand and he shot down on me. Got my hand, my legs, and boom, and then jump and then hold guard on me. And I never forgot it because when he got on top of me, I tried to move him, like roll him over, and it was like I was trying to push a building. I could not budge.
Yeah.
I mean, budge
Yeah.
him. And then I found out later he was an All-American wrestler.
I could have guessed. He
Yeah.
shot the double
Yeah.
and then knew how to distribute his weight heavily so that
I mean,
absolutely. It's a helpless feeling, huh?
helpless. And thank God the rest of the bouncers, the cavalry came and
Yeah.
we took
I
care
bet
of
it
him.
wasn't good for him
It
after
wasn't
that.
good for him, but he could have beaten. But
Yeah.
if I was alone,
Yeah.
I had no shot.
But you see, that's the beauty in jiu-jitsu too. Jiu-jitsu, if you're on your back, and this is why I have little sisters. And
Yeah.
Every female I know, I hope, does jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Because they're the positions you get into. The idea of jiu-jitsu is for a smaller person to be able to beat a bigger person in a fight. So it's very leverage dependent.
Right.
So one of the positions, like the guard, that's kind of, not to be crude, but that's missionary position, so
Right.
to speak. That's
Yeah.
a possible rape position.
Yes.
But from that position, you can learn how to break someone's posture so they can't punch you. And then from there, you could break their arm or choke them out with a triangle,
Yeah.
or maneuver to their back where you can choke them out. Like, jiu-jitsu is very empowering, not just for men but for women as well, to keep themselves safe. If there was ever a situation like that where a man was putting hands on a female, I hope they have jiu-jitsu because I
Right.
know they'll be able to fare better for themselves. And by the way, your son's Dante is his name?
Dante, yes.
I told your wife he's got to come to my gym next time he's back home for Christmas. We're gonna take good care of him. So shout out to Dante. He's gonna come. You come to my gym in Jersey.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Oh, he
we'll,
love it.
We'll meet up and we'll take
his
good care
girlfriend, they both do it. They both did it. They
of him.
love it.
Both of them are more than welcome. We'll take the best care of him.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
that's great. He would love that.
Yeah.
He taught me how to do, and it would really worked because my friend and I were kidding around. I said, look at this thing my son taught me. And it was so weird because I was on top of him and I was holding guard on him and he got me in an Ezekiel choke.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, he got me. And all of a sudden I was like, I'm on top of you.
Yeah.
And he got me in an Ezekiel choke, and I was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm stunned by Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I really am.
I think it's a beautiful thing, and the community is it's a very strong community too, because a lot of times if someone goes in there and has too big of an ego,
right.
they leave the first day because they can't handle getting walking into a room where everyone can kick your ass. The first day you walk into a jiu-jitsu room
Right.
or even like a boxing gym, everyone in there can whip your ass. But what they do is they'll gently do it, and they'll be like, "Hey, good job. Hey, next time do this. Next time do this."
Yeah.
And then then if you stick around, you want to be the same way. So then you start getting good, and you see the new guy come in, and you want to take him under your wing, and be like, "Hey, like do this," and then you'll gently beat them, and you know what I mean. And then you're like, it's very empowering. You know, you build people up.
It's just fascinating to me how the advantage that you have.
It's tremendous.
I had a guy who I bounced with, great guy, my friend Mark, and he was like 11th in the world in judo. He went to the Olympics.
Strong guy.
Strong guy. 6'2", 245.
Oof, that's a handful.
And loved to fight. Loved to fight.
My style.
Loved to fight. So I said to him once, we finished the shift and we're hanging out in the back, working out a little bit. I said, Mark, show me some things. He goes, I don't know, Chazz. I don't know. I said, no. Come on. And, I'm 6'2", and, I didn't weigh 245, but I weigh 200, and I work out. I'm a strong guy. If I tell you, he treated me like I was a child. He
Ragdolled you a little bit, huh?
like, he pushed me around like I was a child. A fucking child.
Dude, I
like
felt
I
those
was
guys' strength.
I was a piece of tissue paper.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
I do.
That's when you say that when you're a blue belt, you feel like this guy was a black belt in judo, fought in the Olympics. He said, no, if I grab this, and I'm like, no matter what I did, I was tissue paper.
Yes.
He just ragged me all over the place. I was like,
those guys' grips are so strong. Like the hands,
he had these hands like. He told me
they're thick. They got like the thick
Yeah.
backs and the.
Yeah, he would walk around with 50-pound plates, just for his grip.
Yeah.
Just walk around, and his grip, when he grabbed me, he just
felt that, right?
grabbed me. And this was he wasn't. He still trained, but he wasn't like in the shape he was when he fought in the Olympics. I'm telling you, man.
So you know what is interesting about judo and jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
So they use the gi, right? You're
Yes.
familiar with the gi?
Yes.
The white robe looking thing. So what that is used for is to simulate clothing. Like right now, I'm wearing this. Like you could grab inside here and grab inside here on me and choke me out with my
Yes.
own shirt. You could also, a judo guy, if we're standing, you could grab me, throw me over, spike my head in the concrete,
Yes.
and put me out if like a fight were to break out, because all humans are wearing clothing.
So that's
pretty much.
why they.
That's why I wear it, to simulate clothing. So there's all these chokes you could do right from here. You know what I mean? You could wrap it around.
Yeah, he did that to me, my son. He went in here and did something and just.
Just
and
pull
I
on the
was
shirt.
like,
5 seconds, you could be sleeping.
5 seconds, I'm gone.
And that's one thing I love about chokes. Like me personally, I prefer chokes to like arm bars or leg locks.
Right.
Because if someone gets me in an arm bar in like a UFC fight, they're gonna have to break it, and then I'm gonna pull it out and I'm gonna hit them with it.
Really?
But if I get them in a choke, they go to sleep. Fight's over.
Over.
Fight's over. There's no. You can't pretend to be awake. I can pretend to not have a broken arm, but I can't pretend to still be awake, because you cut off the carotid arteries.
Right.
Blood flow slows down to the brain. You go night-night.
I mean, it's amazing how no one ever died from a choke in the UFC.
Well, luckily the refs, and I've choked like a fair amount of people out before, but you would need to hold that for like minutes to hurt someone.
Kill them.
Yeah, to kill them, to give them like, I would say, probably minutes.
Yeah.
Minutes to kill them, minutes to give them brain damage or anything like.
But usually,
like that,
as soon as the person goes a little,
right as
well,
they
that's
go
why
limp,
they tap out.
they either tap or if they're a lot of guys are too tough and too proud to tap.
Right.
They go to sleep, and the ref is trained to instantly pick up on that and make sure. The UFC is actually a little safer than boxing, and it sounds surprising, but the reason is, in the UFC, if you get hit hard enough, or you like seem like you're really like out, they'll wave off the fight. In boxing, you get hit, they give you time they give you 10 seconds where no one's gonna, like in the UFC, they drop you jump on them, hit them, they go to sleep, it's over. In boxing, you get hit, the ref pulls you away, you get 10 seconds to clear the cobwebs, and then boom, you get to go back into another car accident of bones into your face. So those guys really take more brain trauma and more depth. Boxing is more dangerous.
Even the training, you're taking hits to the head.
Of course.
You don't train when you fight UFC. You spar with gloves on in boxing?
We do. We actually use, so typically if you're going to go hard and are going to swing hard at each other, we wear 16-ounce boxing gloves.
Right.
But we also, when we fight, we have to replicate what we do the most. So we wear little gloves, but are puffy. So they're about this big. And maybe about 6 to 10 ounces. 10 ounces would kind of be better. Sanibel makes a great glove that's very puffy. And you could throw a little bit with that, but still we're controlled because you don't want to. It's pretty easy to knock someone out. When you hit someone in the chin like this.
Yeah, when you fight, they use 4-ounce gloves, right?
We use 4-ounce gloves, yeah, in the UFC. And it's mostly just knuckle protection. It's more knuckle protection than protection for the other person. Like we could kick someone with our shin in the head too.
Would you say your stand-up is better than your ground game or the same?
I would probably say, and people would say my ground game is better than my stand-up. And
and you boxed when you were young.
Yes, I boxed when I was young, and my stand-up has developed a lot. Like when I first got in the UFC, like I said, I was only 1-0. My stand-up was not nearly as good as my ground game.
Right.
But since I've gotten there, I've worked super diligently,
right.
and now I'm elite on my feet standing up too. But that's taking a lot of work. But I got the second most rear naked chokes. You know what that move is?
Yes.
The rear naked choke?
Yeah.
I have the second most in the division. My next one I tie it. The one after that I beat it.
What's your division?
Welterweight.
Welterweight. So the champion now is who?
What's his name?
Who's
Who just
the
beat
champion?
Leon Edwards. Just beat Kamaru Usman. Remember that
That's
head
right,
kick?
That kick.
Yes.
Now there's Usman was beating him for the whole fight.
That's the fight game. That's the beauty of it. It ain't over till it's over.
And then all of a sudden,
boom, one kick, night.
Nighty-night.
Crazy.
I mean, you get hit with a kick. That's worse than a punch, right?
Typically, yes, I would say so. So I think I would say a kick. The worst thing to get hit with, I would think, is an elbow or a knee, because if you think about the surface area, right, and just the hard. This is a big hard thing. Like I could smash my elbow into this table 20 times, it'd be fine. I start hitting my knuckles or even my my foot or my shin.
Yeah.
It's not so bad. But the thing is, with the human body, if I was standing over here looking at these posters on the wall and your daughter came up and went boom to my chin, she could knock me down. It's just the human body. You get hit here hard enough, your equilibrium goes, you fall to the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think precision is kind of the main thing. If you can really touch someone the right way in their chin to jaw them, that's gonna put them down. But a big hard kick. Like we were talking about the liver shots earlier.
Oh,
like there's so many
shots.
There's so many ways to do it. The sport's so dynamic, and that's what I really love about the UFC and MMA in general.
Yeah, I saw Joe Rogan. He was Taekwondo. I saw him do kicks, and I said, if this man ever kicked me like that, I'm dead. I'll die.
Shoot him.
I mean, no, take out the gun, babe. Come on. I mean, his kicks were vicious.
Yeah.
Remember when, what's his name, the Overeem?
Brock Lesnar?
Brock Lesnar got shot.
Yeah, right in the, absolutely.
He just went down.
Shut your body down. And that's a tough man.
It's like a 275-pound animal.
Mm-hmm.
You get hit there, I don't care. You can't, it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. What I've heard about the liver shot is that your liver is detoxifying your body, right? So a lot of toxins go through that. So, and this could be bro science. So someone out there, I'm sure, will let me know if I'm wrong. Right. But I hear it gets hit. It kind of squeezes like a sponge. And then and the reason why there's a little delay is because then those toxins get filled into your blood and your body's like, oh, fuck. And it like shuts down.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Actually think that's how Houdini died.
Houdini?
Yeah.
Really?
He got punched in the stomach. Yeah. He got punched in the stomach and then performed a show and then died.
Really?
That's very possible.
And I think it's because
I remember
of that.
he used to do that. He used to be like, he would stand there and take shots, right?
No,
but
this was one where he wasn't prepared for. It was a sucker punch. That's the difference.
Oh, shit.
I mean, do you train to get hit in the liver?
Oh, yeah. Oh, a little bit. Actually, this is one of the... So, yes, you should always do body conditioning.
Yes.
Which means you should be... I'll stand there, and I'll get kicked in the leg, kicked in the leg, kicked in the leg. I'll get punched in the stomach, punched in the stomach, punched in the stomach, punched in the stomach. And I'll stand there and just breathe through it. And it's kind of fun. You know what I mean? But especially going into a fight... Yeah. Going into... I know, I probably sound a little crazy. But going into a fight, you gotta... Because you can condition your body. Can't condition your brain, they say.
Right.
But I think when you do enough fighting, like you're built a little bit differently. But you stand there, you take shots in the stomach, get kicked in the leg
Right.
to harden you up, because if you don't, you'll get hit in the fight and be like, oh my gosh, what was that? You got to be used to it.
You're right.
You know what I mean? You have to condition yourself.
Yeah, it's funny. I train with guns. I'm a big gun person. 3 guns, shoot pistols, rifles, long range. I do that.
That's an even better superpower than jiu-jitsu, by the way.
Well, well, you don't want to do that if you have. But I remember training. I trained with the Mossad. I trained with the FBI, and it was really great. I enjoyed doing it. And I remember the FBI guy said to me, I said, "Why do you go through all these training of things coming up? People. Then it's a good person, bad person as you walk through a thing." Because I did it, and it was very difficult.
Right.
And he said to me, "You can't go there." I wish I could say it right. You can't go there physically till you go there in the mind. Once you see it and develop it, that when it does happen, you go, "Oh, I've been here before. This is okay." Just like you said, I've got these kicks.
Yeah.
And now you kick me in the fight, and I felt that before.
Yeah.
I felt that before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that's what training's all about. It's like you told me before, Mickey. You said everything has to slow down. Everything slows
Yes,
down
sir.
when you're a real fighter.
Yes.
Everything slows down. I have to ask you this one thing. Now, I don't know the Paul brothers. I don't know them. Never met them. I like what they're doing. I think it's good for. I think it's good for the sport.
Yeah.
Some people, they criticize them. I don't. I think it's good for the sport. I think, hey, whatever you can do to make money, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, God bless,
They're
right?
legitimate. They box. They look like legitimate fighters to me.
Yeah.
But and I don't want to start any trouble or anything. But do you think? You could fight the Paul brothers. What do you think about that?
To be honest, I am certain that I would beat both the Paul sisters in one night. If they fought MMA and did my sport,
You
what I
could beat
do,
them.
I could beat them both in under 10 minutes.
Now they have beaten.
Yeah. if they're gonna come at me 2-on-1, it's gonna be a little tougher.
No,
but
one on one.
one-on-one. Oh yeah, no problem. Just a time in the Pretzels.
Now the people they fought. They fought some legitimate guys, but they were kind of over their prime. When you say
they definitely fought tough guys, and I'll be honest, I thought they were gonna lose from the beginning. I thought Ben Askren was gonna beat them,
Right.
but I think they've looked impressive. I thought Jake Paul's looked really good. I think them having the means to be able to train hard and work with great coaches, because of their YouTubes and Disney stuff they have. You know what I mean? I think they've taken it seriously and done a good job for themselves.
And when he knocked out the other guy, what's his name?
Askren, and he knocked out Tyron Woodley, which I was shocked by.
Tyron Woodley,
which I was shocked by.
This guy was a tough guy, bro.
So I gotta give credit to them. Actually, we were talking about this on my podcast.
Yeah.
Slick and Thick, the one I do with our friend Gerard Michaels.
Did Anderson Silva fight them too?
Anderson Silva just fought them.
And what happened? He lost?
He lost as well. Lost the decision.
I'm confused.
I think the kids are good. There's a lot of fighters who are jealous.
I think they're good too.
And God bless them. They changed the game. They're making a lot of money for themselves and making money for their opponents.
The other guys are making money too, so I think
Absolutely.
it's okay. I'm okay with it. I like it, in fact.
Yes. No, I think they're doing really good. I think they're good fighters. With that said, I would twist them both into pretzels.
Okay. Well, all right.
You
man.
know about that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu stuff, Chad. Come on.
That jiu-jitsu shit is real, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I would give them a little lesson in Jiu-Jitsu, Chaz.
Yeah, if they fought some of these guys with UFC rules, they would lose, probably.
For certain.
When you say
for certain, it's a different sport.
It's a different sport.
It's apples and oranges.
Now, do you have your? I hear you have your own podcast, right?
Yes, it's called Slick and Thick. What do you think of that name?
I like it. Slick and thick.
I'm slick. Gerard's thick.
Gerard Michaels.
Gerard Michaels,
Stand-up
our friend.
comic,
Yes,
Gerard Michaels.
yes, the great Gerard Michaels.
The great Gerard Michael, who
Yes.
we're going to have on. Okay.
Yes, and we'd have to get you on there one
Oh,
time
yeah.
if it was ever when it's convenient for
Well,
you.
yeah, no,
we'll do it
absolutely.
together and we'll have some fun. Talk
Slick
some
and
shit.
thick. I
Yes,
like
Slick
it.
and Thick.
What is the name of your gym in Jersey?
Gracie, New Jersey.
Gracie, New Jersey.
And yes, we're going to welcome Dante and his girlfriend. I would love for you to come if you
Oh,
felt
I
like
would
making
love
the
to
drive.
go.
Oh, are you kidding me? Come on.
You
We'd
know,
love
I'm not
to.
going to train, but I'll watch a little bit.
We'll take great care of you guys.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
love to have you guys. It'd be a real honor.
Yeah, no. You let me know when you're
So
back
I got to
in
tell
Jersey.
you.
Yeah,
I got to tell you. So when I was just with my family for Thanksgiving,
Right.
I have a whole family full of Chazz P fans.
Come on.
I'm dead serious. I don't want to embarrass you here, but look,
that's all right.
we got a lot of fans in Jersey. My grandparents grew up on 216th Street and Gun Hill Road.
Sure.
In the Bronx.
In the Bronx. Wow.
Right. I big fans of, and now I haven't heard my Uncle Freddie give too much credit, but when he was like talking about seeing your one-man show,
Yeah.
he was so impressed. He was like,
Oh, well, thank you.
the talent, like of all how dynamic you are, of all the different things you do.
Well, thank you.
And that
You
we
got
got some big fans.
When you want to come and see the show, you let me know.
Absolutely.
Anytime you go to chazzpalminteri.net, any show you want to make, you want to come and see it,
I'll be there.
you be there. I'll take care of it, man.
I'll be there.
Really. But I'm going to have Dante and Chloe and myself and my wife. She would like to come. We're going to come out and visit your gym. Now, do
I
you
would
have
love to.
something coming up you want to talk about?
I don't
Anything?
have anything booked right now.
Okay.
I actually wanted to ask you a couple things about acting.
Sure, go ahead.
Because I've done two little acting spots in my life, and I had so much fun with it.
Yeah.
So the way I kind of compare it is kind of similar to fighting.
Yeah.
Where you get in front of the camera,
Right.
it's almost like getting into the ring, and they're like, ready, go. And you either got to do it
True.
or you don't.
Yeah.
And luckily in acting, you could say cut. In fighting, if you're not
can't
doing
say
it,
cut.
there's no cuts in
Right.
fighting except for across your face.
Right, exactly.
But I got a real rush out of it. I found it really fun to be like, ready, go. And then you have to do your thing at the time. Like I thought it was really interesting.
Well, definitely we'll talk about that, because if you want, acting is the same as you got to train. You got to train.
you have to practice.
You have to practice. You have to practice. Acting is, I always tell people, it's the hardest, easiest thing you'll ever try. It looks easy, but it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. The idea is exactly like boxing or fighting. The more relaxed you are, the better you'll be.
That makes a lot
The
of
more
sense.
relaxed you are as an actor, because what do you use? You're using yourself.
Right.
So you have to be, if you're nervous when you say your lines, you look like you're acting.
Right. You can't be thinking too much, right?
No, what you have to be, not just think,
be.
I'm going to say these lines and I'm going to wait for his response. I don't know what he's going to say, but I'm going to get my lines out. You know, it's like, it's a thing you have to train. But the more you do it, it's like anything else, the better you get.
Right.
The better you get. And I do these.
And your wife teaches acting as well, right?
I teach. I do these
You
master
teach as
classes.
well. Okay, cool.
I do master classes twice a year, 3 times a year. But when I do one, the next time I do one in New York, you can
Let me
come,
know. I would love
You can
to.
come. You could audit the class and watch it.
I would love that.
And see
Thank
if
you.
it's something that you want to do.
Yeah, thank you.
See, you say, look at it and say, you know what, I could, and then you let me know.
Yeah.
You audit the class 3 days, 3 hours a day.
When's your next one?
It's a master class. The next one is in, I got to find out. It's at one-on-one, the 34 West 27th Street, one-on-one. You just call up there. I think my next one is September.
We'll run it on the screen.
We'll
so
run it
it
on the
gets some-
screen. I'll
gets
do it.
some-
I don't remember my next one, but I know it's coming up soon.
Okay.
But I'll invite you.
I'd love to. I appreciate that.
Class.
I'll be there.
No,
That'd be
you
really
teach me a few holds, and I'll teach you.
You got it. You got it. 100%. That'd be great.
Mickey Gall, right?
Yes, sir.
How do you
Mickey
spell
Gall.
that?
Gall. Mickey like the mouse.
Mickey like the mouse, and this is a tough mouse here, kid. Mickey Gall, come and see this guy. When you hear him on the card, come and see Mickey Gall. Great guy, great kid. I call you kid because I'm a lot older than you. Hope you don't
Hey,
mind.
you call me whatever you want.
And we're gonna get him.
You just call me a mouse. I mean, it's
No,
all right.
no,
You
I
call
didn't
me
call
anything
you a
want.
mouse. We're gonna get you. We're gonna give you some things. Sandy Blue Eyes. Make sure he gets some of this, so you take it to your family.
Yeah,
Mickey,
that'd be
you're
great.
You're a great guy. You're a gentleman, and I wish you much success as a UFC fighter. But I also wish you much success in life.
Thank you. And
But I
coming
know-
from a living legend like
Well,
you,
thank you.
it means a lot. Like
But
you,
the whole
I hope
kid-
you know your contribution too to all us East Coast people.
Well,
like
thank
you're really a trailblazer, and even the way, like, we didn't get into it, but even just the way you went about and held your guns and
Yeah.
And got what you wanted and carved out your piece
Right.
of life.
Yeah.
It's really very inspiring.
I appreciate that. And well, I'll tell you what is this here? January 29th, if you're in town, you want to come and see the show, you'll be my guest. January 29th, the Paramount Theater in Huntington, Long Island. I'll be there. Sandy Blue Eyes will be there selling the merchandise. Mickey Gall, you're a gentleman. God bless you.
Thank you, my friend.
All right,
Appreciate
my
you.
pleasure.
Likewise.
All right. Stay tuned. Next week, we'll be back.